Now, this isn't going to be your usual YouTube video, people. We've got no music, nothing like that. Over the past year or so, I've come to some realizations regarding the channel and whatnot, the theme park community. I'm actually using that word for once, oh my word. So yeah, we need to talk. I think it's safe to say I made some mistakes in the past, I made some misjudgments, but it's good because in 2024 we're going to rectify that. We're going to be going into a new era of the channel. You may have already noticed a couple of changes in my most recent videos, and we're going to discuss those and the implications going forward. We should probably start this by rewinding back to the first lockdown in 2020 when the COVID-19 pandemic first hit, because that's when I, in my opinion, started to really go serious with this channel. I started this channel officially in 2016 when it actually wasn't called ThrillNet. I then rebranded it in like 2018, and I did content on and off throughout 2018 and 2019, but I didn't get down with all the editing and whatnot and really seriously trying to grow the channel until lockdown 2020 when I do top 10s and all sorts. And naturally, with us being all stuck inside back then, I'd start making a name for myself in the community, especially on Instagram and whatnot, and I'd be messaging people. I did a Minecraft Quest to Build a Roller Coaster series with someone for a bit, which ended due to various reasons, unfortunately. Who knows, we may bring that back one day, but not got anyone to do that with at the moment, so hit me up if you want to do that, I guess. It was really nice, to be honest, for a while. Like, I spoke to a lot of enthusiasts and we'd talk about meeting up when everything got back to normal. The parks would obviously reopen in July 2020, but unfortunately, due to being severely clinically vulnerable to COVID, due to me having a kidney transplant and being on all sorts of anti-rejection drugs that basically weaken my immune system, it was too unsafe for me to be going out to parks during those times. So I basically continued through the entire year and into 2021 when we locked down again, as if we were in a lockdown that entire time. So yeah, I essentially spent all that time making videos, uploading them, messaging people in the community, interacting, you name it. And naturally, when you interact with people for such a prolonged length of time, you do end up having some bad experiences. Bearing in mind, I wasn't in the best place mentally then for obvious reasons. So yeah, unfortunately, I did have some bad interactions with a few people, which made me question a lot of things. And I would then go on to make an Oktoberfest rant video in October 2020, which kind of kick-started an era for the channel, which I'll go on to talk about. But I've got a lot of backlash for that because I obviously didn't visit any Oktoberfest events because I couldn't due to being clinically vulnerable. However, from having a look at the events and whatnot on YouTube videos, I really wasn't a fan, which is why I made that video, and it was meant as a light-hearted joke. Because those of you who know me personally will know that I'm quite a light-hearted person when it comes to jokes. I love to have a joke around with my friends and whatnot. So yeah, it was just authentic for me, personality-wise, to bring that over to the YouTube channel. Needless to say, I'd received more backlash on Twitter following a video I posted in 2021 talking about some of the Merlin theme parks because people weren't happy with the opinions I expressed in that video. So again, that just dampened my opinion of the community even further. But it never got to me to the extent where it affected my YouTube persona. In fact, it kind of had the opposite effect. I ended up making more rant videos, I guess, because I wanted to be authentic and there was stuff that would annoy me from time to time emotionally. I'd then go on to make what was, I guess you could call, a rant video about the theme park community as a result of my past experiences. And I'm going to say it, that was a really stupid move. You might think from what I just said, well, surely it made sense. But no, I've come to the realisation that it was the wrong thing to do. And that is ultimately why I'm making this video. Obviously, in that video, I went on about the bad experiences I'd had in the so-called community. I was saying things like, stick to your own friendship group. I have my own fan base through this channel. I don't need the community. I don't need to interact with it. The point is, it was a very dismissive video. It was done as an emotional reaction, and I was going on about other people's problems and stuff, and that other people were having problems within the community. Like, just shut up, Thrillnet of the past. Like, this is the thing, like, that's their problems. You don't need to worry about that. But in my defence, like, it was clear that, you know, I wasn't in a good mental state then. I'd been inside for a year. I was going back to parks at that point, but my mental health had taken a toll over that year, and it had all just, you know, come crashing down, really. It was, I'd spent too much time on social media, obviously, and stuff, which isn't a good thing, and it had managed to get to me, and I was more naive back then. Instead of actually focusing on my goals and how I wanted to progress with the channel, I was getting too caught up in all the stuff going on social media with people's drama and whatnot, and in some cases my own drama, as I've kind of said as well. In terms of just ranting about stuff plainly from an emotional standpoint, the perspective on that and the way I approach that is something I want to change. This whole attitude of, oh, I've got my own community, I've got my own fan base, but then saying I'm not going to interact with the community on social media and whatnot, was completely just contradictory of each other. It turned out I'd end up being less interactive, I feel, with you guys after that. You know, back in 2020 when I interacted more in the community, I'd make loads of interaction videos and things like that, unpopular opinions, and I want to go back to more of that sort of thing. I want balance is what I'm saying. I want to be active on my social media platforms, my Twitter, believe it or not, and my Instagram, with just you guys and people, but not overindulging to the point where I get caught up in any sort of drama, or I get affected by other people's drama because I'm using social media too much. But I am aware that many of my videos, since I started ranting in them, have been very emotionally driven, and that's what I want to improve: emotional intelligence. I want to be honest with my opinions, and sure, if I'm genuinely don't think something's very good, of course, you know, I will have a bit of a rant about it or whatever, but I've been going out there making these very ranty videos that are very emotionally driven, especially when I see some news or something that, you know, triggers me emotionally in some way, without looking at the bigger picture and the wider perspective, and I feel that's put me in a bad light. I'm not saying that I'm not proud of some stuff that I've produced over the past couple of years since I made that community rant video back in 2021. However, there's been plenty of mistakes and misjudgments that I've made as a result of my approach to making these videos. I've not made that many dedicated rant videos since then, but I have been very ranty in quite a few videos. And the final straw, so to speak, was my Hyperion name reveal video. You'll know if you've watched that video that I do not sound enthusiastic in it at all, even though it's literally the name reveal for the UK's new tallest roller coaster. I was criticising how similar the name Hyperion was to Hyperion, but the main issue was the thumbnail of that video, and that's another thing. It's not just the video content that's the issue here. It's social media posts and the way the videos are presented as well, in terms of the thumbnails. The thumbnail, the original thumbnail that is, literally said the words "this is terrible" on it, which is complete over-exaggeration. It was emotionally driven. I was stressed that night when that video was made. The announcement was dead late at night at a press event, meaning I was stressed about making the video because I wanted to make sure the video got out there. So I documented it, and that combined with the name being so similar just made me react in a very overreactive way. I didn't do my research at all into what the name meant with relation to the coaster, because I was rushing and flapping like a chicken and being really stressed, which just made me look like a complete idiot, especially with the thumbnail. This is terrible. Like, it wasn't a terrible announcement. I wasn't even that negative besides the name itself in that video, because I talked about some other stuff like the soundtrack and praised it. It was just complete unintentional clickbait. I didn't know what to stick on the thumbnail, so I just went, right, this is my emotion, whatever, and there we go, that ended up on there. It's since been changed now just to say name drop, because I still didn't know what else to put on the thumbnail. That was changed about 72 hours after the video was uploaded, and it was mainly in response to, believe it or not, the official Thorpe Park account commenting on that video. They changed the word slightly since the original comment, because I think they thought that it was a bit sarcastic, as Thorpe Park social media team can be. When I had calmed down and replied to it civilly, being like, oh no, like, I do apologise, like, this video was rushed and whatnot. But they essentially said, as I've referenced numerous times in numerous videos since as a bit of a joke, and I did make an apology video in response to this video as well. Can I just clarify, guys? You know, they call me a beacon of positivity and being like, thank you for taking the time to make this video. And that was it. After that, I thought, right, I need to change the way I'm approaching things like this here. Like, I've literally got the official Thorpe Park account. Like, I want to grow this channel. I want to make this channel big. And now Thorpe Park themselves have seen me in a bad light. So it made me very self-conscious. I may have issues with parks and I want to be honest about those, obviously, but I don't want it to come across to such an extent that parks are putting comments like that, and for people to think I dislike these parks, especially Thorpe Park, which I absolutely love, when it isn't as deep as that. I've been working on myself a lot this year. I feel like I've been spending less time on social media because I'm still an absolute guilty individual when it comes to death scrolling and whatnot. I might not be that interactive, but still scroll through a lot of things, and it's just not good mental health wise. And it comes to bite me in terms of things like this, where I get too in touch with my emotions and things like that. I've been trying to cut out bad habits. I've been trying to focus on my goals and come to realise, like, what are my goals? What are the things I need to prioritise and just improve my mental health? I don't want you guys to think I have any underlying serious mental health problems, because that isn't true, but I just mean that in general I've been trying to improve that element of my life, because there's always room for improvement. My friends, although they probably don't realise it, have been a massive help within this as well, especially Josh, with him being a fellow content creator who's trying to grow his own channel, and especially with the Thorpe Park video and just other things as well I've posted over the years. They've always been honest, and if I have slipped up somewhere, you know, they'll be like, yeah, that wasn't a good move, and that was especially the case with the Thorpe Park video, and it's helped me realise as well. Like, don't get me wrong, guys, like, I know I say about the community being negative and whatnot, but constructive criticism like this is a positive thing. The other factor that has made me come to this realisation about the way I'm going to change going forward with regards to social media interactivity and the direction of the channel is that I've been fortunate enough to meet quite a few new enthusiasts this year, which is mainly due to Josh's Valhalla updates, really, and the fact that we're at Pleasure Beach quite regularly. And it's been really nice to spend time with people like that and go on Valhalla with them and whatnot, especially. So those things unintentionally have made me and Josh really a bit more well known, I guess you could say, in the community. And honestly, especially closing day when we were with Josh, Danielle, Sam, Tegan, Ben, the roller coaster, Keith, who you may know, who's ridden Enzo over 200 times. He's very well known in the community. Was honestly a brilliant day, the best closing day I've ever had at Pleasure Beach. And just looking back on that makes me think, you know, these people are part of this so-called community, and we've made some brilliant memories. I've always considered myself as quite different to a lot of people. I don't always see eye to eye with people, you know. I don't sit down every night and watch politicians like compete on some jungle television show that I personally aren't a fan of. You know, I don't go out all the time, whatnot. Like, you would still never see me like in Velvet Coaster in the late hours, if you know, opening day and closing day. So I think that certainly hasn't helped with my perception of the community, because I've always, you know, felt like, you know, probably in some cases as if I'm better in that sense. Part of improving yourself and whatnot is respecting others for who they are, even if you don't see eye to eye with them. And like, I don't blame people for being who they are, because society conditions people to be a certain way that obviously I don't relate to. I'm more a goal-driven person, especially now. You know, I'm trying to better myself and whatnot. I'm even more like that, but I've always been a bit like that. Yeah, you know, if someone like asked me whatever, do you want to go out to Velvet Coaster for the late hours? I obviously wouldn't, but in terms of the commonalities we share with regards to theme parks and whatnot, you can still accept that. I'd say we have about 5 to 10% of the community who try and bring others down, and that's all they do, or they are malicious in some way. These are obviously completely evil people. These are not good people who we don't want to associate with, or I don't want to associate with. And the best thing we can do is to just ignore that. Obviously, I've been subject to it in the past, and it is something you've got to deal with, but I think the benefits of hanging around the good people outweigh that. And then we've got probably about 80% of people in the community who are like your average person, I guess, in 2023, they're fine. And then we got the 20% of people who are content creators. And this is another thing with me being overly negative in terms of being too emotionally connected, resulting in over-exaggeration rather than honesty as such. You know, it's not a good look in terms of other creators who I could be, you know, I guess making a name for myself with. You look at the big YouTubers such as Jack Silkstone and also the smaller YouTubers that have taken off in recent years. They've all had some sort of way in which they interact with people in the so-called community on these social media platforms, but they do it in the right way. They manage to stay out of the drama mostly, and they have that emotional intelligence when it comes to making the videos as well. I want to take a more comedic approach in some respects to my videos because, as I said before, I'm quite a light-hearted person. You may or may not have noticed that in my last couple of videos because I have already started trying to move towards that. So now it's time for what you've all been waiting for. We're moments away from unveiling the new ThrillNet logo, which will take our brand identity forward into 2024 and beyond. So without further ado, I won't keep you waiting any longer. Here is what ThrillNet will look like going into the future.
Oh no! Oh no!
Only joking. Do you really think I'd change the logo up there? Do you really think I would change that? Massive shout out to Theme Park Ego Megan for making that little logo there. She said it took her 30 seconds to make as a reference to the logo I made in my Thought Park logo video, SLKSTN Park, which I did obviously make in 30 seconds in MS Paint. I hope you did find that funny at the time, and that is an example of the comedy we're going to take forward going into 2024 and beyond on ThrillNet. So yeah, the logo isn't changing, guys. The logo is going to be exactly the same. It is entirely with regards to my approach to making and releasing videos and growing the channel rather than our visual identity. But thank you guys for all of your support. There will be a 2023 highlights video coming out on the channel tomorrow, but I also wanted to release this to explain how I'm going to change things going into the new year. To hear my thoughts on the Thought Park logo, click the video on the right side of your screen, and for more things theme park related in the UK and beyond, click the icon in the centre of your screen to subscribe. And I wish you all the very best going into 2024. Thank you for watching.